What's up, college football addicts, and specifically to you video game addicts? Maybe this is your first time seeing the channel. Some massive NCAA video game updates just dropped today. This is our second NCAA video game update video that we have dropped, and we're excited about the future release of EA Sports College Football 2025. There's some bad news about this video game that I'll talk about in just a moment, but I will give you the good first. First up, though, comment what console you're going to be playing the game on. Are you an Xbox guy? Are you a PlayStation guy? Where do you lie? Do you not even have a console? You have to go buy one for this new video game that's coming out? Let me know down in the comments. I've always been an Xbox guy. I think I'm going to flip over to PlayStation for this. It's what all my buddies have. So I want to be able to play the game with my buddies. All right, off to the good news. Number one, the best news that came out today is honestly just more confirmation that the video game is going to happen. We are going to get it, but that all 134 FBS teams will be in it. Everybody from Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and Michigan and Notre Dame and Florida State and all those programs, all the way down to your brand new FBS schools like Liberty and others that have just joined the FBS. Over 11,000 players are expected to be in it. Very few players are expected to opt out. Now, you could have some, and I've got some thoughts on that, but it's really good news that your favorite team and most likely your favorite players are going to be in this game. It's going to be exciting to, again, if all of your favorite players aren't, your favorite team likely will be. And that's a huge, huge win. Could you imagine an entire team sitting out of this? Like somebody like Notre Dame, we've done a couple of videos on, somebody like Florida State, somebody like Florida, Miami, whomever, not being in this game, even if it wasn't your team, the rivalry. If you're a Michigan fan and Ohio State's not in it, you're like, what in the world? I want to beat their brains in. Any player, any college athlete can opt in for $600. They also get a copy of the game. There will be some guys who can opt in for more. They can be spokespeople, might be on a cover. Give me a projection down in the comments of who you think might be on the cover. That'd be fun to talk about. But according to Chris Vanini, EA Sports actually wanted to pay players to be in the game a decade ago. That kind of gets you upset, doesn't it? The NCAA, though, wouldn't allow it. We could have had this game for the last 10 years. We could have had this game ever since it was banned. It was taken off the shelves. It was taken out of our consoles, and we've been playing college football revamped for the last decade or so. Kind of frustrating that the NCAA was so greedy that they didn't want the players to capitalize on it. And not only did it not cost the players, right, like $600, whatever, like whatever the payment would have been back then, but it cost us. It cost us as the fan. I won't delve too much into that. You can click on other videos on our channel if you want to see me hate on the NCAA and their incompetence. Make sure that you're subscribed. We're going to do a lot more content around this about the college football EA Sports video game 2025. Make sure you're part of the college football addiction family. But there is a feature we don't like. There is a little bit of bad news that we alluded to earlier. EA Sports says that players who opt out will be protected. We won't be able to just create players and put them back into the game if they've opted out. It's not necessarily been revealed how EA Sports or the video games would be able to accomplish this, but I'd imagine it's a lot like custom NFL and NBA jerseys. You can't create a James jersey with the number 6 and print it out on Celtics.com. You can't create a Prescott jersey and give him Dak's number and print it out on the New York Giants. Ultimately, I understand protecting players, but EA Sports is not going to be able to accomplish their goal. If there's any silver lining of the bad news, it's a couple of things. Number one, college football revamped exists for things like this. College football revamped basically created an entire new game around NCAA 14. They created new skins. They update rosters. They regularly update the game and have even put in a playoff. And they'll fix this too. The other option is people will just misspell the name. People will just slightly change a detail or two so you still know that that player is who you're creating, Maybe they'll use a nickname for them, but players will still get into the game if you want them in it. EA Sports is trying to protect, but there is always a workaround. Whether it's something you manually do, whether you have to change their number by just one, whether you have to change their last name spelling by just a little bit, you'll always have a workaround for things like this. As far as players opting out, I have no problem with any player opting out of this game that does not want to be in it. They think they're more valuable than $600. They think that they deserve more. They think that their name, image, and likeness is worth more. No problems with that at all. No problems with kids choosing to opt out. Here's what I will say, though. Should they be getting paid more, less, this exactly $600? I don't know. I don't have a great answer for that. I don't really care. I'm all for players getting paid. I'm all for players getting their maximum worth and value. What I do think matters in looking at this is that the game is not going to be hampered. Sales of the game is not going to be hampered because of any one player that opts out. In fact, people who wanted this game for so long said, don't put any players in it and just give us a generic roster so that we can play with our favorite teams. The teams that you cheer for, the colors that you root for on Saturday are going to be the same in 4 years when your entire roster is different than it is today. They just will be. You're going to still root for that team. It's not like the NBA where you root for certain players. Now, you may have certain players on certain teams that you like to follow and you like to keep up with, and that may be something that impacts some people. But for the most part, people just want to play with their favorite team, or they want to take a no-name team, a small 2-star team, and build them up to glory. I don't think one player being in or out of the game is going to impact things at all. It's not going to impact how many sales EA Sports gets. And so when you consider it from that perspective, the return on investment for EA Sports paying $2,000, $6,000, whatever number you'd put on it isn't there. They're going to sell the game one way or the other, whether this player opts out or this player opts in or whatever. And so if it's truly name, image, and likeness, and there's no return on investment for this player opting out or that player opting out, then I think $600 is fair. I think a blanket number for everybody is fair. They're doing no work. They're not having to do anything. They're not having to tweet about it or make appearances or anything like that. And if they choose to opt out, it's not going to impact sales at all. It's not going to impact any of you that are watching, buying it or not buying it. And so kids can choose what they want to do, but I suspect that most kids are going to want to play with a version of their self in the game. We're getting closer and closer to finally having a date. Ultimately, what do you guys want in the game? I want to hear your comments down below. What do you think about the news that dropped today, the different reports, the different updates, and then ultimately the bad news about some players opted out and EA Sports trying to limit us, which I don't think they'll be very effective in doing. We did another video on this, and I want to tell you guys what absolutely has to be in the game. You can click the link on the screen right now to check that out. Thank you guys, as always, for watching College Football Addiction.